Alright, it's a new day. I finally slept pretty decently after being jet lagged all week. And if I dare say, I'm feeling pretty decent right now. I know my mind doesn't like that. Now my mind's gonna start shitting on me. If I shouldn't feel decent, right? There's a lot of reasons I shouldn't feel decent. For example, my mind doesn't like that I don't have a job right now. My mind doesn't like that I don't have any concrete plans right now. And I can't think of other things at the top of my head. And there's a huge sweeper truck coming right towards me, probably about to blow me into smithereens with pollen and leaves and dust. But that's okay. We move on. We go on. It wasn't too bad, actually. Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty decent. I actually feel like I have pretty good clarity of mind right now. The past couple of days have been pretty poopy. I was feeling pretty shitty. Uh, a lot of feelings of like guilt and shame and just like uncomfortability. I think well, for one, like yesterday I was talking about my guilt with I lost a close friend recently, and I wasn't in the country when it happened or soon after it happened, so I wasn't really able to help um, with her belongings and just sort of the logistics of what comes after. And I realized I felt a good amount of like guilt for that. Also, I'm in a long distance relationship. My girlfriend is not in the same country as me, and so I think that was kind of weighing on me as well. I was feeling really sad about that and missing her. And then third, I think, is the aspect of figuring out my life, figuring out what I want to do. And I feel like because of my physical condition being more poor in the past couple of days, I feel like, it makes sense that my mental condition kind of suffers as well, and my emotional condition. And I feel worse. I felt more negative, more of my negative emotions, a lot of sleepiness still from the jet lag. And yeah, I think in terms of like clarity and like thoughts and stuff, definitely a lot more cluttered, a lot more chaotic, more what's the word? Like more convoluted. Like I would catch myself thinking thoughts or like ruminating on thoughts or kind of thought spiraling on things that don't really make sense. Um, and I feel like something that was kind of on my mind a lot yesterday was like action, right? Like I I know that what has held me back for so many years, it's not inherently just my thoughts, it's my thoughts with the lack of action. I am a very deep thinker, a very analytical, maybe overthinker type person. And I guess inherently there's nothing wrong with that, but really the part where that kind of becomes a problem is when there's no action. Like overthinking is kind of like a double-edged sword. Like it can help you like to be really analytical, really thoughtful. Like there are times where I can just like pick up on things or like do things just really quickly in my head. Like, I don't know, it could be like a math problem, or I don't know, a whole lot of stuff. I feel like I can read situations really quickly. I can like make calculations really quickly. I think I'm more perceptive of a lot of things, and I'm very good at observing and trying to understand something. And yeah, I guess it's a double-edged sword. Like, it's what I make of it. It can certainly be a trap that kind of just paralyzes me if I have no real meaningful way of creating action steps. And sometimes like my mind kind of shits on me, telling me that like the act of doing this, what I'm doing now, is not helpful, that it's a shame that I'm spending 1 or 2 hours a day just voicing my thoughts. I should be doing blah blah blah. I should be working. I should be trying to find a job. I should be taking action steps. And it's not entirely wrong. On the action steps, I agree with my ego, with my mind up here. It's true. But it's not that I should, it's that I should, hold on. I shouldn't do it because I feel that I should. I want to do it when I want to do it. There's a very big distinction between should and want, and I feel a lot of us, without realizing it, and this is one of the huge things that I've heard in like therapy, like cognitive behavioral therapy. This is one of my favorite little tips or like strategies they talk about, which is like catching ourselves when we think we should do something. And I guarantee you, it's probably a lot more often than you think. And I've been mindful of it for a very long time, but I still catch myself doing it all the time. And I guess that's kind of what this is all about, is completely just decluttering and debugging and just emptying my mind of all shoulds. I don't want any shoulds to exist. I only want to do things because I truly actually want to. And I feel that it's a very hard thing to do. And it's been proving to be a very hard thing to do. It's a very lonely thing to do. It feels very isolating at times. And I feel misunderstood, or like there's a lack of attempt to understand. Maybe part of that is because I don't really understand myself, and so I perceive that others might think the same of me. But I mean, today I feel pretty great, and I certainly feel that these videos are extremely helpful for myself. I think the part that actually upsets or worries my mind more isn't that I make these videos, it's that there's no outcome attached to the videos. Like, like most of my life, something I've realized more recently is that I've attached my worth to what I achieve, to what I do, to the outcomes I attain, right? And my girlfriend struggles with this a lot too, where it's like one of the ways that like quote unquote like really smart kids or really gifted kids like are able to do things, a lot of times it's out of like the propulsion, like the motivation. A lot of times it's not a positive one. Like, I've realized for many people what drives them is not love, it's not passion for what they do. Sometimes, it's always, I'm sure it's not ever black and white, it's definitely a mix. It's certainly been the case for me. But a lot of times it's negative emotion, it's guilt that we're not doing enough, it's fear of failure, of what would happen if we fail. Um, and, you know, the three things that I've realized for myself and kind of have been working on for the past month or two, the big trifecta has been fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of criticism. And, you know, I feel that for a lot of us, the mechanism that propels us isn't love, but fear. Fear of what would happen if it didn't work out, if things don't work out. And, you know, I feel like that's part of what has been so paralyzing about figuring out what I want to do or doing what I want to do. It's not that I don't have things that it's not that I don't have ideas or that I don't have things that I think I might want or I know I might want. I feel that at this point, what holds me back is actually just the fear. And, you know, it's been pretty tough. It's been pretty ass sometimes, kind of deteriorating those walls, like breaking down those walls, breaking down this whole system that I've built, that I've let others build for me, in my mind, whether that's parents, society, the internet, social media, friends, whatever. I feel that a lot of us, we allow our mind to be constructed by others in a passive and like unconscious way, right? Because if I ask someone, like, I think most people would probably say, like, yeah, like, I'm in control of my mind, like, I want to do everything I want to do, like, I'm not swayed or influenced by other people, other things, blah, blah. But at least in my observations, in my experience, like, I feel like we're often unaware of the ways in which we're living a life on other people's terms. And, you know, like, that's one of the biggest regrets people have when they die, is not living their life on their own terms. And with the passing of my close friend recently, that's one of my biggest takeaways and inspirations that I feel she would certainly be proud of me for, because I know that she regretted not living life on her terms. And there was a lot more she wanted to do that she could have done, or she wished she could have done. She wasn't able to. And, you know, I've always felt that you can certainly learn from your mistakes, but, you know, time is precious, experience is limited. We're only here for so long, and I think something I'm really proud of myself for is for being so observational and trying to understand others and learn from the mistakes of others, because we don't have to make the mistakes. We don't have to suffer intentionally. We don't have to sacrifice. We don't have to American English right there. We don't have to, or wow, I never caught myself saying, I never realized that I said that. Wow. We have to. Wow. Bit of a tangent there. But we don't have to sacrifice. We don't have to fail. We don't have to suffer, like, intentionally. Like, all that is gonna come. All that is guaranteed. That's life. We're all gonna get fucked at some point. And I feel that there's this large movement of, like, hustle culture and stuff where, like, it's built on these ideas that are fundamentally broken. And that's not to say that, like, it's not to, like, judge them or anyone that follows them or agrees with them. It's more so to just point out that there's a fundamental mechanism in place that will never lead to happiness when it comes to, like, hustle culture. Because inherently, by the nature of desire, like anything that we ever want, like the human mind has infinite capacity to desire. If we want a car and we buy a car, like our first car, now we're going to be like, oh, it makes us happy. We think it makes us happy. But really what it is it pleasures us. It gives us pleasure for some amount of time. And then we have to buy a truck. Then that makes us happy, but then that whittles away and then we want something more. So we go out and we buy a Lamborghini, and then that whittles away. We lose our pleasure from that. So we buy a Bugatti, whatever, man. Whatever it is, man. It's a constant moving of the goalposts. And it's a little concerning, honestly, that, I don't know. I was thinking about this earlier where, like, it just feels so weird to be back in the US after traveling or being abroad for most of the past, 2 years. And I feel like there's so many mechanisms in place that are just fundamentally broken, that will never, they're like the idea of what happiness is, but if we understand its very root and the very nature of the human mind and what desire is, it's broken. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a myth. It will never lead to happiness. And I think the thing too is that when someone identifies very strongly, when their identity as a human is in what they do, what they accomplish externally, that's kind of what I realized was the case for me. And I've certainly observed this in myself in the past where if someone takes aim or kind of attacks or questions something a belief or a practice or a lifestyle, or it could be religion, whatever. I feel that if it's something that we identify very strongly with, then our mind will get extremely resistant and defensive, and our ego will flare up and we'll put up our walls. We might slander the other person or attack the other person once we feel that we can't win the argument, or that I don't know, I see it all the time. Watch any debate, at some point most of them just end up being a slander match where they just attack the other person. And that might be a little different. I think, of US politics, for example, no one's gonna change their mind. When someone believes something and they're not open to believing anything else, there's no point in debating. There's nothing to debate. No one's gonna change the other person's mind until someone is actually open-minded and wants to understand the other person. And I don't know, man. I know that with the internet and social media, there's definitely a more recent, skewed perception of the world and of human nature. We get to see all the worst of the worst moments in people's lives. We get to see supposedly what's the best of the best. You see Instagram influencers that are, I don't know, out at a 5-star hotel with I don't know, just making cool Instagrammable pics. And we believe this lie, this facade that these people are happy. And that's sort of I don't know, man, it's just so strange, because the very fundamental myth that like American society and a lot of societies are built on, that like the more you buy, the more you consume, like the happier you'll be. That you need this, you need that, you need the new iPhone, you need this new car, you need to get a job promotion, you need to move up in your tax bracket. It's not enough to be middle class, you need to go upper middle class. And once you're there, it's not enough to be upper middle class, you need to go upper class. I think they call it. And I don't know, it just feels like craziness. And I feel that I'm certainly not the first to realize it or to feel this way. I'm sure many people do. I think what I realized though is that on all sides, like a lot of people, including myself, I used to be extremely like apathetic and I'd just given up on politics and on humans. I just resigned and just felt that humans were just shitty. It was in our nature. We're doomed. We're fucked. We're all gonna die. The world's gonna burn. We deserve it. Blah, 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 blah. Right? I'm sure a lot of people, if not currently feel that way, at some point in their life have probably felt that way to some degree. And, you know, I think any time that we disagree with someone, it's a lot easier to approach them with judgment or with hatred than it is to try to understand them. But the thing is, like, fundamentally, if we want someone to change, I've never heard or encountered a person who changes because people call them a bigot or call them ignorant or call them stupid, you know? Yet I feel like that's the approach that we see and sort of observe most often. And of course, this is mostly like on social media, maybe at like protests where people are really flared up and really angry. And that's emotions. I'm not saying emotions are bad. Emotions are certainly very necessary. I think the part where we often get stuck is, I feel like, I mean, I've talked about this like for many days now, but I feel like a lot of people are like anti-emotion in the US. It feels like a lot of men are like, oh, like we shouldn't feel emotions, and like on the left or on the right, the conservatives hate on the liberals for being emotional, for being compassionate or caring or sympathetic about things. And on the right, they demonize the left for being so like cold and like, I mean, I'm sure dozens of things, right? It happens on both sides. And I feel like there are many people like me who kind of observe this phenomenon. But then it's kind of just like, well, fuck, like what can we do about it? Like, it's fucking doomed, you know? And it's certainly easy to feel that way. And I guess I don't really know what I'm getting at. But I think what I do know is that, you know, the only way to create change is to be the change we want to see. And, you know, I think a lot of people can probably agree with that principle, but yet I've observed that many people have a lot of resistance to actually taking action or actually caring enough to want to be the change they want to see. Understandably so, it's a hard thing to do. And I feel like what I'm realizing, for myself at least, and I feel like I've observed this in many others as well, is like, what we fear isn't actually like, let's see, what's stopping us from being the change we want to see isn't a lack of like an idea of what we want or what that change should be, or what we want that change to be. I feel like what holds us back is actually the fear of being that change, right? Like it's tough. Like if you have like two friends who are like hating each other and they're like fighting, like it's scary to like be the one to try and like step in and separate them or like calm them down, because you know you run the risk of them like transferring that fear onto you. And you know, I feel like that's kind of like an analogy for the situation a lot of people are in, where like we like personally, privately, we feel or we think like, yo, this is what's going on around me is wrong, and like we feel and we have an idea of what the right approach is, but it's fucking hard to be the person to take that approach, to take that initiative. And you know, like my mind's kind of shitting on me. I feel like growing up a lot of times, you know, people are good at shitting on other people, and you know, you certainly can't stop them. And that's certainly what scared me a lot about trying to be the change I want to see, is the fear that people are gonna shit on me, people are gonna hate on me, people are gonna criticize me, they're gonna judge me, I'm gonna have failures, or it doesn't matter what I do, they're gonna see it as a failure. And that's the tricky thing, man. It's like I can't control any of that, man. We can't control any of that. Like, people, if they want to hate, if they disagree with you, if they feel threatened by your very existence or by the very things that you're voicing, or your opinions that you're sharing, your beliefs, the person you are, the things you're doing, like, there's only so much we can do. And especially like on the internet in this day and age, if you're famous, you know, it's part of the game. You're gonna get shit on. People are gonna hate you. And that's part of what held me back for so long in not wanting to be online or share things online or have a presence online. And you know, there's cancel culture, there's an abundance of people who are looking to cancel you and bring your downfall, and they're looking to misconstrue what you say. Maybe you know, it might not even be that maybe they genuinely interpret your words a certain way, but you know, there's a lack in like there's like a misunderstanding. And you know, in my time being away from the internet and coming back to life, real life, and interacting with people in real life, and going to China and to Thailand and to Malaysia and Mexico, and just spending a lot of time with just human beings from other parts of the world, other countries, some of which, all of which are definitely in a less comfortable lifestyle than people in the US, than the standard of living in the US. But also a lot of which, like, you know, I guess, like TikTok and phones are certainly huge everywhere these days. You know, I guess it's something I'd have to think about and process more, but I feel that, you know, maybe it's something I could have even done in the US, but being like just away from the internet, away from social media, away from news, and just really anchoring back in to the present moment, to the now, to interacting with people in person as it's meant to be. It's very healing. You restore your hope in humanity because you realize, like, wait, it feels like everything's going to shit. It feels like everyone's going crazy, the world's going insane. But then you go outside and it's like, wait, maybe it's not so bad after all. It's actually kind of chill out here. That stranger just said hi to me. Why did they do that? That's so weird. Why aren't they yelling at me for my political views? And hating on me for not doing enough in their eyes, you know? And so, you know, it's been very revitalizing to restore my hope in the world by traveling, living abroad, seeing a different way, meeting different people, connecting with different people, you know, seeing how different people see the world, how they live their life, and their practices, their culture, their beliefs, their traditions, their celebrations, all these things. And you know, I feel like, I don't know, man. It's a grand problem. The internet is a beautiful, beautiful thing, but there's certainly a potential that is certainly being leveraged for very negative and dangerous outcomes. And you know, for those of us who find ourselves terminally online, you probably feel very shitty about the world. That certainly was my experience through COVID and just spending all time indoors online with my toxic friend group. And you know, like, as I've been kind of thinking about all these things and thinking about my life and trying to understand what it is that I've experienced abroad, and you know, how I can sort of leverage my experiences for change, for something that I believe in, you know? I feel that I'm closer than ever to having something to live or die for. Whereas a few years ago, I had nothing to live or die for. And I think that's the experience of a lot of us. We have nothing to live or die for. We're just sort of existing, floating on by. And you know, maybe it's not a lot of us. Maybe it's just a very small portion of us. But that's the thing, like, there's a beauty in just voicing our thoughts, because there's a lot of people, there's guaranteed to be a lot of people like us. You know, like, I don't have that many people that are following my thoughts or my channel, my documentation, whatever. You know, I have like 145 subscribers right now. Very, very few views, and that's part of why my mind more so is uncomfortable with myself at times, because the outcomes I'm conditioned to shoot for example, getting a lot of views, getting a lot of subscribers, my mind hates that that's not happening, you know? But, you know, I don't have many people watching. I don't have many people keeping up, especially not with these long-ass videos. But in a way, I kind of really like doing them. And I kind of am trusting the process, because I feel like at some point, you know, I feel like there's nothing stronger than like doing something without telling anyone or like asking anything of anyone. Like, when people are most inclined to like be curious about something is when like something like has literally zero asks to be like watched, you know? Like, I feel like the times when I like click on like random ass like weird looking YouTube videos is when it's like just super like raw, super like honest, just super like not even trying. There's like a weird like paradox where like when we stop trying and when we stop chasing views or chasing the desire for people to watch us or listen to us, like, and we just do us, like lead with action, live the life that we want to live, like, I find that in my observations, that's actually when people tend to be most like curious. They're like, wait, what the heck? Like, I've never heard about this, or like what you're doing, or like whatever. And it's like, I'm kind of curious, like, what the hell is this? Let me check this out. Like, I've stumbled on, like, YouTube videos that, like, I have no fucking clue why they're in my feed. It's like random people doing random ass shit. But then, like, you know, a lot of times it's like, it's so crazy and just, like, strange that it just might work, you know? Like, one of my friends told me about this bodybuilder, Sam Sulek, I believe is his name, who sort of just, like, doesn't give a fuck when it comes to his content. Like, you know, like, a lot of people, mainstream advice would be like, oh, like, you know, edit your videos, like, put captions, like, you know, work on your thumbnail, don't make your videos very long, you know, adhere to your audience, post at a certain time, like, do this, do that, do this, do that. And, you know, I certainly found myself falling for all those things and trying to do all those things. But why do we do all those things, right? We do all those things because we're chasing an outcome. We want to succeed. We want to be successful. But fundamentally, happiness is not in our outcomes. It's in our process. It's in being in the moment, in the now. And, you know, I had this realization that has yet to pay off, but I'm feeling pretty good about it, honestly. I feel like it's only a matter of time for someone to, like, really just be piqued by my interest and be like, what the fuck? And, like, just, like, start watching one of these videos. And, you know, like, for being a video that's extremely long, you know, I feel like at some point there's going to be that person that really resonates and that's really just engaged and, like, in awe at, like, what they just found. Hopefully. I mean, who fucking knows? I don't know. That's just my hope. That's what I feel like. It's just a matter of time before it happens. Like, where, you know, someone's gonna resonate. Like, people watch podcasts, man. Podcasts are just people chatting for, like, an hour, 2 hours. People watch it. And because it's, like, long form, like, if someone watches one full video, like, YouTube algorithm is gonna be like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, someone just watched this guy talk for 2 hours? Holy shit. Like, that would fucking drive the analytics crazy on this video. And, like, Sam Sulek, like, he basically does, like, workout videos. He's like a bodybuilder. And he does workout videos where he just, like, films his workouts. Or, like, I watched one of his videos where he just, like, is talking about his breakfast, and he just films, like, his breakfast and talks about the macros and, like, I don't know, just a bunch of random shit surrounding breakfast and his, like, ideas around breakfast. You know, and it's, like, all just, like, raw, live, like, real, not live, but, like, content like this, where it's, like, he just sets up a camera and starts talking very casually, very calmly, very honestly, you know, he's very authentic. And, you know, it's tricky because, like, you know, I've definitely caught my mind being like, oh, like, you know, since my mind is so conditioned and obsessed with outcomes and wanting to succeed, there's definitely been those moments where it's been like, oh, like, shoot, like, all right, like, we need to get off the program. We need to become very honest and authentic. And, like, then, like, once we do that, like, people will really resonate with us, and they'll wanna watch, and we'll go viral, we'll blow up, we'll blah blah blah, we'll get views, we'll get subscribers, all this. And, you know, now that I say that out loud, I guess there's nothing inherently wrong with that. You know, I feel like it's a weird dichotomy where, like, my mind, like, I've in my past have tended to be very idealistic. So, like, in some ways, like, my mind really wants to succeed, really wants to, like, attain a certain outcome. But on the other end, there's like the part of me that like doesn't want that, and like because like both sides are kind of driven by like fear of failure, or like very strong like inner criticism, or feelings of shame, or just negative emotions. Like it's kind of like this like tug of war where both sides are really powerful actually, and there's that side of me that really wants to succeed, and there's that part of me that shits on me for really wanting to succeed. And it's pretty absurd. Luckily, I've come a very long way, and I've really toned down the noise level on my inner dialogue, and the critical parts, and the parts that just don't serve me anymore, and that I want to be more intentional and like decisive about. Like I want to decide how I speak to myself. Right now it's a lot, or what I realized was that it was a lot of noise from the outside. What people think I should do, what comments, what negative like comments on social media would say, what critics would say. The thing about criticizing is that it's infinite, it's endless. You can always criticize someone because it's by its very nature, you're shitting on someone for what they haven't done, and it's impossible to do everything. Even if you do everything that's reasonably possible, or that's possible within the parameters of the human body, of what we can do in this physical realm on this earth, people will still shit on you. And that's just the nature of haters, man. And it's an endless game. So it doesn't matter. Like there'll never be a point where if someone wants to hate me, they won't. You know, like they can always hate me. And I think I'm not really at a point where like I have enough eyes on me for someone to hate. Because that's the thing. Like people hate people that succeed because they see it as a threat to their own existence, I feel. Or, you know, it can be a lot of different things. And, you know, I do feel that in order to change haters, you have to approach them from a perspective of trying to understand them. So that's just like my general guess for the mechanism of why people hate. It tends to stem from some sort of really negative experience, some sort of insecurity, some sort of projection of their own hatred towards themselves. It can be a lot of things. But I lost my train of thought. That's what I did. Oh yeah, like I'm not at a place where like there's enough eyes on me for people to hate on me. But you know, if/when I continue to grow, and you know, I suspect that as long as I don't stop uploading, there's only one direction I can go, because you know, I even if it's really slow, like I'm averaging like a couple subscribers maybe every few days or like a week, and it kind of wanes, you know. Sometimes a video picks up more traction than others, but yeah, I feel like there's only one direction it can go, and yeah, I mean, we'll see. And the other thing too is like, you know, this is just kind of what I'm doing now and what's very helpful to me now, but I want this channel to focus on whatever I want to do, whether that's travel vlogging, whether I pursue music again, and that's something I've been thinking about a lot, where it's like, all right, let me finish the thought first. Whatever I want to do, like I want this channel to be my sandbox, to be my place, to do whatever serves me and whatever is important to me and that I care about and that I feel that other people could benefit from as well and could resonate with. And just helping me to be the person I want to be and to do the things I want to do, the things that I really care about, so that I'm not afraid anymore, so that I'm not held back by fear in doing the things that I want to do and the things that I care about, which I still feel is the case. I still feel there's more work to be done, more chambers in the dungeon to open, and more demons to slay. But I've certainly made a fuck ton of progress, and I feel really, really good and proud about that. That's something I would never have been able to say a month ago. My mind was shit on me. I mean, pride? There's no place for pride, man. Me being proud of myself? Nah, fuck that. I can't be proud of myself. I need to be inadequate. I need to feel that I'm not enough. Because that's what's gonna drive me. If I feel that I'm not enough, if I feel inadequate, that's gonna drive me to do more and to get more outcomes. But that's the mechanism at play there. And as I get more outcomes, at some point, it's not enough. And I just have to keep going. And that's the cycle, that's the trap. That's the trap that I found myself in. And that I've sort of built the awareness of now to see it, to observe it, to catch it. And now it's just a matter of doing the work and taking those action steps, to processing the emotion that is at the core of those thoughts, of those beliefs, and to fill it in with something new. Fill it in with who I want to be now. And yeah, there's a lot of things I want to be. I'm feeling really good about getting there. And the progress I've made and the process I'm on in getting there. And so, like today, I was feeling some clarity in my state of mind. Normally when I think about the things I want to do, there's fear, there's a sense of anxiety, insecurity. But, I think my best two ideas right now would be like music, so also like travel vlogging. I feel like the world could really benefit from seeing life, what life is like abroad. I also feel that there's a lot of problems, a lot of really harmful things going on, ideas spreading or whatever, I feel like people need a new way, an alternative to a lot of the ways that just aren't working right now, that aren't gonna work for them in the long run. And I feel like for so long I've been the observer, I've been the one to understand, but I've never been the one to voice and to be willing to say what I think, honestly. Excuse me. And I feel like that's where I'm at now. And that's part of what I really love about these videos, is that I train myself more and more to be able to speak my mind and be unafraid. And I mean, it's quite remarkable, really, because I reached a point where I've basically been talking this whole time. And like a month ago, I could only go on for like 20 minutes before like my mind shits on me and I lose my train of thought, or like I feel really ashamed or really shitty, all these things. And apart from like a blunder here or there, where I lose my train of thought, I'm feeling pretty fucking good. And I made a lot of fucking progress, and I'm proud of that. And no one can take that away from me. There's been many times in my life where I feel proud, but people, I am made to feel that it's ego, not pride, and that I should feel bad for it. But nah, fuck it. No one can take our pride away. Just be mindful though, because there's definitely a difference between ego and pride, arrogance and pride. But yeah, and so I want to, I guess more generally, I want to make an impact. I want to be a positive influence. I want to be a positive role model. I want to be able to speak my mind. I want to be able to be honest. I want to be able to be vulnerable. I want to be able to care about things, to be passionate. I want to make a difference, be unafraid, be strong, be courageous, be proud, do what's right. I want to do all these things. And I certainly feel closer than ever at doing these things. And I have some ideas of how to do it. I don't really know where I'll end up or how things will go from here, but we'll see, man. That's for sure. We'll fucking see. And I feel like I was talking about action steps earlier, and I feel like I'm in a good state of mind to do some action steps. For example, like with music, I feel like what holds me back is mainly the process of sharing my music, or playing my music, or being vulnerable when I play my music, or when I write my music. Like lyrics is a very vulnerable thing that I still don't really ever do. But the thing is too, like I realize, like, I mean, I have songs already. I have things that are mainly fairly complete, and I guess I'm at a point now where I feel like the last step is to share it, to like perform it, and I feel like that might be the next direction I kind of go in, to kind of test the waters, declutter my mind, kind of take small doses of poison and see how it makes me feel, because I'm sure a lot of negative emotions will be triggered and will resurface. But yeah, I mean, the other thing too is, like, I've only been here 5 days. I want to have time to myself, to spend time with friends, with family, to not worry so much about work and what I'm doing next. I think the main constraint is money, and but I live very frugally, have a very low baseline now, so I don't actually need to worry too much about money. It's a lot harder to do something and feel like affirmed or valid in what you're doing when like everyone else is doing something different, right? And so like all my friends are working, everyone's working, everyone's doing shit. I am not doing, well, I am doing shit. It's just not work in the way that they would define it, or society would define it. But I'm doing self-work, and honestly, I feel like what's more important than that? And I know that everything I'm doing now, and everything I'm putting time and effort into now, is an investment, and it's already proven to be. I can feel how much more I feel like myself, like I can feel the difference, and I can feel the clarity, and like, I feel like I'm going through like a jungle and I'm like clearing the bushes, and like I'm seeing more light, I'm seeing more life, and more terrain, and like I feel more of a direction and a sense of where I want to go, more ideas, more uncovering, more rediscovering, all these things. And yeah, I'm feeling good, and I'm feeling courageous, and I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling proud and resolute, and I'm ready. There's still some fear, but that'll always be there. It's one thing to feel a certain way, it's another to believe. And I accept my feelings, whatever they are. I choose my beliefs as I want to choose, whatever I feel is right. And I feel like my mantra, or not my mantra, but what I feel has really worked for me is accept myself wherever I'm at, be honest with myself, try my best. What else can we do? That's worked for me. It's been very helpful for me, and it's been a great framework. And the rest is just living life in the present, doing our best, enjoying ourselves, being honest with ourselves, accepting ourselves, and just getting to where we want to go as best as we can, and enjoying life, because life is meant to be enjoyed. Just trying our best to enjoy life, even if it doesn't feel that way for a very long time. Maybe it won't for a very long time. We're all different. We're at a different point. We're all different experiences. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty freaking good, man. And you know, I think I'm gonna focus on some action steps today. See what I can do. Alright, that's all for today. If anyone wants at all, anyone out there in the world, leave a comment. I've still yet to have one person watch an entire video. But when someone does, that's gonna be a special day. It's gonna be a very special day. And that's gonna be amazing. You'll be the first at my meet and greet if you watch my whole video. But you have to watch the whole thing. No lying, I'll quiz you on it. I'll test you. Alright, that's all from me. Peace, take care.